One thing that I think that's important that you learn is the purpose of the CPAP and how the machine actually works on your body. What I'm going to show for you is this video. It's about 3 minutes long, and it goes over how the CPAP actually is working to support your breathing while you're asleep, okay?
Okay.
Do you have any questions before we start?
No, ma'am.
Okay, perfect.
Sleep apnea is a common disorder in which there are one or more pauses in breathing or shallow breaths during sleep. Normally, without sleep apnea, your airway remains open. Your airway consists of your nose, mouth, throat, and windpipe. This allows the flow of air and oxygen into your lungs when you inhale, and the flow of carbon dioxide out of your lungs when you exhale. Obstructive sleep apnea can be mild to severe. Your airway may narrow or close completely. When the airway collapses a little bit, the airway becomes partly blocked. This makes it harder for air to pass into your lungs when you inhale. Any air that squeezes through the blockage may cause snoring. At times, the airway may become completely blocked where there is no airflow. This is called apnea. With little or no air flowing to the lungs, there is a decrease in blood oxygen levels. This signals your brain to disrupt your sleep, which helps you open the airway. Sometimes, obstructed breathing ends with a gasp. The normal breathing cycle continues until the next episode of obstruction. Episodes may last seconds to minutes and recur 1 to 100 times per hour. Continuous positive airway pressure, also known as CPAP, is the most common treatment for moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea. In this example, a CPAP mask fits over your nose and mouth. When you inhale, the CPAP machine gently blows air through the tube and mask into your nose, mouth, and throat. The air presses on the walls of the airway, keeping it open. This prevents airway collapse. When you exhale, the CPAP machine continues to gently blow air to keep your airway open. The continuous airflow also pushes the exhaled air and carbon dioxide out through holes in the mask. This process automatically repeats throughout the night with each breath, allowing you to breathe uninterrupted during sleep.
Okay, Brian, so one more thing that we're going to discuss is the 3 types of masks that are involved. There's something called a full nasal mask, which I'll show you a picture of now. And this is a mask that covers just your nose. Then the next mask that I'll show you is called a nasal pillow. And this is soft silicone tubes that fit directly into your nostrils. And then lastly, I'm going to show you a full mask. A full mask is something that covers your nose and your mouth. So the doctor suggested that a full mask would be most appropriate for you in your care, and from what I was understood that you got fitted for that, correct? Oh, perfect. Okay, so once we discuss applying, or actually assembling your unit, we'll go over the proper steps to apply your mask, okay?
Okay.
All right. I see you brought your new CPAP machine.
I am right here.
All right. So for today's class, we're going to be going over how to set up the machine, and then just the different components of the machine and how to properly apply the mask.
There's a lot of pieces.
Yeah, there is. It can be a little intimidating. Okay, I think we've got everything. So I'm just going to kind of go over a couple of the pieces. So there's 2 cords. This is your power, and then this is the part that plugs into the wall. And it's good because it has a good length on it, so it doesn't have to be exactly next to your nightstand. This is your actual mask that you got fitted with at the sleep center. And then this is the hose that'll help support your oxygen as you sleep. And then here's the actual machine, the unit that you've got, which is fantastic. One thing on this unit that I wanted to show you is that it also has a sleep mapper, and depending on the sleep center that you're at and the physician, they might have you put in a small CF drive right here, and on here it'll store data about your sleeping habits for the doctor to be able to look at. Also on the back side there's the power jack, and on the front side of the unit is your power button. You know that once you turn this on, this should light up blue and then it should give you power. This is where you're actually going to hook up your hose. And then down here is where the water reservoir is. So this just pops open, and then you just reach in, and this piece just slides out. One thing that's important to know is that you need to apply only distilled water to this unit. It helps to humidify the air in a way that is safe for you. If you notice, there's also a line on the side and it says max. You only want to fill up the water to this water line. Then once you have it filled up, you'll just gently place this unit back in and close the door. And if it's sealed, you know that you've got it set up correctly. Next, we're going to grab the hose. You notice that there's two parts on there. There's a dark colored one and a light colored one. The light colored one is always the one that you're going to apply to the machine, and you'll slide it on until you feel resistance, and then you know it's got a tight seal. This is important so that then you get the max usage out of the unit for yourself. Next, you'll apply this dark colored tip to the mask as such, and it'll actually clip on, and you know that that's set up correctly. Lastly, you'll plug in to the opposite side of the water unit, the power cord, and then you'll plug into the power box, and then this will plug into the wall. One thing that's important to remember, Brian, is that this is an electrical unit and you do have water on there, so you want to make sure that water and electricity don't mix, and you could have some electrical problems if you do so. So, just to make sure that you understand the proper way of using this unit, we're going to take it all apart, and then I'm going to have you put it together. But before we do that, do you have any questions?
I'm kind of curious about the mask. It looks kind of intimidating.
Yeah, the mask is pretty interesting. There's several units to it, or several components to it. You'll notice that there's two straps on the side, and they're both adjustable. And then there's also two straps on the top part of your head, and they're both adjustable as well. And we'll go over properly sealing the unit. One thing to remember though is that this plastic piece needs to be right in the center of your head to make sure that you get good suction for the mask. And you'll notice that there's this nice soft plastic that helps to seal this so that then you get maximum amount of air pressure to your face. Okay?
Okay.
Alright, so let's just go ahead and take this apart. And I think we're ready to go. So, go ahead and put the unit together as though you were at home. Perfect. And now, what type of water would you be putting in the unit?
Distilled?
Definitely. And wait, before you put that in, where would you know when to stop with the water?
There's a max line.
Exactly. Perfect. And how do you know that this is closed correctly?
It's sealed.
Perfect. It kind of snaps in place. Excellent. Okay, what would you do next, Brian?
This part.
Okay.
It's this piece.
How do you know it's that piece?
Because it's the light one.
Exactly. Okay.
And the other part goes
Excellent.
Interesting.
Perfect. Now, Brian, let's go ahead and talk about putting the mask on. So you kind of just slide your head into this bottom portion, and yeah, exactly right. You'll need to take off your glasses to do so. Now, if it feels too tight, you can adjust the straps on the side. And remember, you want this so that then you can at least fit 2 fingers against your cheek. You don't want it tight that it's crushing your face. And then what about up here? Excellent. So you want that snug. Perfect. And remember, Brian, you want this plastic piece in the center. Okay. So let's say that you have an air leak right here above your eye or below your eye. What 2 straps would you use to adjust that? Would you use the ones down here or the ones up here? Here. Perfect. Now let's say that you laying down and you feel some air seeping out on the bottom. What 2 straps would you use? The ones up here or right here? Down there. Perfect. Okay. So I think that we've got that all set up. Excellent. So Brian, do you have any questions about how to assemble your unit?
No, it looks like it makes sense.
Okay. So once you have your mask in place and your unit set up, you want to make sure to push the center button, and then it should light up blue. The doctor has already made recommendations about the settings, and we've already programmed your box. So all you'll need to do is push the power button, and you'll be set to go. And then routinely, usually once a month, the doctor will request that you bring the unit in, and he'll take out the drive and then make necessary adjustments based on what the readings show from your sleeping habits.
Okay.
So just a couple tips, Brian. Some people sometimes get a little bit claustrophobic wearing the mask at first. So sometimes we suggest just putting on the mask really loosely and wearing it around the house just so that then you feel comfortable with wearing it. But it seems like it's a good fit to you. Do you feel like you have any concerns about wearing the mask at night or being claustrophobic?
It's surprisingly comfortable.
Fantastic. That's what we always hope for. Okay, so if you have any questions, our number is on the box, and the doctor is helpful, and he's willing to answer any questions or concerns you have about the unit.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Brian, so I think that it's important for you to see how your body is before you're using the CPAP. So this way you can see the severity of your sleep apnea and what is actually happening. So there's at times that you're asleep that your airway actually becomes completely blocked and there is no airflow, and during that time you can see that your body has to awaken itself in order for you to be able to get that oxygen to your brain and your vital organs. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch the video. Okay, Brian, so we just finished watching that movie. What are your first thoughts?
I had no idea. I usually don't see myself sleeping.
Yeah, I know it can be kind of scary. So the point of this wasn't necessarily to put fear in you, but more to show that, you know, this is something that's serious, and that we've tried other methods to correct, and now by using the machine, this is going to support your airway to prevent episodes from like that ever occurring again. Okay?
I hope so.
Yeah, definitely.